בשנת 2013 בוושינגטון DC נערך שימוע אזרחי היסטורי, שבו 40 חוקרים, מדענים, אנשי ממשל, אנשי צבא לשעבר, באו להעיד מול 8 חברי קונגרס וסנאט על אחד הנושאים המרתקים ביותר בהיסטוריה שלנו. המטרה של השימוע הייתה להוריד את מסך הברזל, לתת לעולם לדעת מה קורה, ולהראות עדויות שאכן אנחנו לא לבד, ושכדור הארץ זוכה לביקורים מפלנטות אחרות כבר אלפי שנים. השימוע ערך 5 ימים עם יותר מ-30 שעות של עדויות מהחוקרים המובילים בתחום, והוא נערך כפרוטוקול קונגרס לכל דבר, עם אזור תקשורת, אזור לקהל ושולחן ועידה. הוועדה קיבלה הצהרות כתובות, עדות מכל חוקר, וכמובן שהייתה להם את האפשרות לשאול כל שאלה שהם רוצים בנושא. אבל העדות שתפסה את תשומת ליבי הייתה דווקא משר הביטחון לשעבר של קנדה, פול הליור. זו הייתה הפעם הראשונה ששמעתי מישהו בדרגה כל כך גבוהה מדבר על הנושא בצורה פתוחה לחלוטין. כשאני שמעתי את העדות הזאת, קודם כל הייתי המום. לקח לי קצת זמן לעכל את זה, ובאותו הרגע זה הדליק אצלי משהו, ואני אמרתי לעצמי, זה נושא שאני חייב לדבר עליו. זה משהו שאני חייב לשתף עם אנשים, כי כולנו נמצאים באותה הסירה. ויש לנו את הזכות לדעת מה קורה, ובגלל זה גם התחלתי את כל הסדרה הזאת של האם אנחנו לבד ביקום. אז תראו את הסרטון, הוא אמנם באנגלית ואין כתוביות, כך שאם יש פה מישהו שלא חזק באנגלית, תבקשו שיתרגמו לכם כי זה שווה כל רגע. אז תהנו ואנחנו נדבר אחרי הסרטון.
Although as Minister of National Defense, I had sighting reports of UFOs. I was too busy to be concerned about them at the time because I was trying to unify the Army, Navy and Air Force into a single Canadian Defence Force. And that itself was a kind of battle to the finish. So this was not high on my agenda. But about 10 years ago, I started getting interested due to a young man from Ottawa sending me material on the subject. I told him I was too busy to read it, but he had confidence that someday I would. It took me a while to get around to reading it, but I took it for my summer reading in 2005 and was really impressed with what was contained in it. And what I thought to myself is there are huge issues here, huge issues. And the American people and the people of the world have a right to know what's going on because they're part of it. It's not just an isolated thing. I accept the invitation of Victor Vigiani, who's over here somewhere, and his cohort Mike Bird to speak to a symposium at the University of Toronto. And I said, UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead. That gave me the dubious distinction of being the first person of cabinet rank in the G8 group of countries to say so unequivocally. In the 1960s sometime, it was a flotilla of UFOs headed south that crossed into NATO territory in Europe. And the commander-in-chief of the Supreme Allied headquarters in Europe was naturally very shaken. Fortunately, or maybe divine providence, before the panic button was pushed, the flotilla turned around and headed back north. Obviously, they had thought maybe they were Russian and they were very concerned about it. Anyway, an investigation was launched into this whole subject, and a document was prepared which concluded that at least 4 species had been visiting Earth for thousands of years. And this is my own view at this stage as well. So, except for that, there are just a couple of things that we've talked about that I'd like to refer to. And one was that we were referring to them as they until this morning when Linda Moulton Howe, I think she was the first one, actually named 3 different species. I don't think we can any more refer to them as they because they're not an amorphous mass. They are different species and consequently may have different agendas. I don't think we can say that they all have the same agenda any more than we could say that the United States, China, and Russia had the same agenda. Our real interests may be very similar, but as of now, our perceived interests are still quite far apart. One more observation before I begin what I want to say, and that is that we spent quite a bit of time talking about the 66-year-old cadavers, and I was glad to have Linda this morning finally say that there are live ETs on Earth at this present time, and at least 2 of them probably working with the United States government. The other species that I learned about not too long ago was called the tall whites. And this is when Paula Harris broke the story just a few years ago. And through her good offices, I had the chance to talk for about 3 hours with former Airman Charles Hall and listen to this absolutely fascinating story of how he was working with, first of all, he was scared out of his skin, but after that, when he got to know them, how he was working with, and finally they became to trust each other and have a good working relationship with the tall whites at the gunnery range at Indian Springs in Nevada. And these tall whites were living on United States Air Force property and working in cooperation with the United States Air Force and sharing technology with them. He wrote a book, incidentally, called Millennial Hospitality. There are 4 different versions, but Paula says that Millennial Hospitality number 2 is the best. I think that's the one I read, and it's a very interesting read if you want to sort of get inside the problem of what it's like to bump into these people floating across the terrain in the desert. Well, enough on that for now. My interest is in full disclosure. And my only caveat is I think probably I would say 95 to 98% full disclosure. I know of 1 or 2 things that I'm not sure should be in the public domain, at least yet. They will be someday, I'm sure, but not maybe immediately. But just as children survive the idea of the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus when they become adult, I think that tax-paying citizens are quite capable of accepting the new and broader reality that we live in a cosmos teeming with life of various sorts. The fact that some other civilizations are more advanced than we are may be humbling. It exists, and it's being kept secret by the same vested interests who control our destiny. Who are these vested interests, and what are they up to? Well, Senator, you were talking about a military junta. In my opinion, that is true, but I have broadened and deepened the definition to cabal, and the cabal comprises members of the 3 sisters: the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers, and the Trilateral Commission, the International Banking Cartel, the Oil Cartel, members of various intelligence organizations, and select members of the military junta, who together have become a shadow government of not only the United States, but of much of the Western world. The aim of the game is a world government comprising members of the cabal who are elected by no one and accountable to no one. And according to Mr. Rockefeller, the plan is well advanced. Does this help you to understand why our civil rights are being taken away from us? I say us, because Canada too is included in the grand plan. So here we are more than a decade later fighting another war that can't be won. There is no country on earth powerful enough to protect its citizens against fanatical hate, as we learned from the Boston Marathon. And the mere attempt to pursue the impossible pits neighbor against neighbor and the state power structure against everyone. All of the freedoms won by the millions of men and women who fought and died in World War II are being flushed unceremoniously down the drain. The The only hope of peace is a negotiated settlement. This will require a paradigm shift in American attitudes. It involves a de facto renunciation of the plan for a new American energy and the adoption of a pledge of cooperation with all humankind to build the kind of world which we are collectively capable of. Young people everywhere need to be challenged by a noble cause. They need to be involved in arresting global warming, creating a banking system that is just and sustainable, and lead the way in the transformation to the new reality that we have to live in harmony with our celestial neighbors as well as seeking peace on earth. In a word, we have to become spiritual beings and practice the one tenet that the world's major religions have in common, and that is the Golden Rule.
אוקיי, חברים, אז מה אתם חושבים? אתם יכולים למצוא כמובן ביוטיוב גם חוקרים אחרים שהעידו בשימוע הזה. לצערי הסדרה הזאת כנראה לא תהיה 10 פרקים כמו שהבטחתי, אלא יותר, כי יש כל כך הרבה חומר לדבר עליו. ואני יודע שאין פה הוכחה חד משמעית, הנה תראו חייזר. אבל לאט לאט, האם זה מתחיל לחלחל בכם? האם אתם מתחילים להיפתח לאפשרות שהמציאות שלנו הרבה יותר מורכבת ממה שרוצים שנחשוב? אני לא רוצה שתענו לי על זה עכשיו, יש לי עוד הרבה מה להראות. אני רוצה שתענו על זה אחרי שתקבלו את כל המידע, ואז תוכלו לשקלל את התשובה בעצמכם. אני רוצה שתחשבו מי מסתיר מאיתנו מידע? מי לא אומר את האמת? האם כל אותם האנשים בשימוע שרוצים להוציא את המידע החוצה, האם הם אלה שמשקרים לנו? ואם כן, למה שהם יעשו את זה? מה הם מרוויחים חוץ ממבטים סקפטיים של אנשים שחושבים שכל הנושא הזה מגוחך? והנה עוד שאלה. מה אם הם אומרים את האמת? זה אומר שיש גורמים שלא רוצים שהאנושות תדע על זה. ובאחד הסרטונים אני גם אסביר לכם למה. לחשוב שאנחנו היצור התבוני היחיד ביקום, זו מחשבה מאוד יהירה. אני חושב שאנחנו צריכים להיות הרבה יותר צנועים בעניין הזה, ולהתחיל לקבל אפשרויות חדשות. לי אין תשובות, יש לי רק מידע לחלוק. כל אחד בסופו של דבר יקבע לעצמו מה אמיתי. אוקיי חברים, זה הכל הסרטון הזה, תודה רבה על כל התגובות שלכם. אם אהבתם את הסרטון, שתפו אותו עם אנשים אחרים כדי שגם הם ייחשפו לנושא הזה. ואם אתם רוצים לראות סרטונים נוספים, תעקבו אחרי עמוד הפייסבוק שלי או ערוץ היוטיוב בראש של גיל. זה היה גיל, נתראה בסרטון הבא.